Our rights are on the line, folks. Our reproductive rights. Go vote blue. And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business.
No wonder the modernized version of woke Snow White and the non-binary dwarfs. No wonder this degradation of a Disney classic lost nearly $150 million at the box office. It was bad enough that Disney took a polished classic and turned it into a polished turd. But to make matters worse, the lead actress that was chosen to play Snow White, who, ironically enough, is Hispanic and not white. This is the equivalent of a white girl named Sarah being on the cover of Ebony magazine. But the main problem with woke Snow White, it was not the race of the lead actress, had nothing to do with her ethnicity. Rachel Zegler's supposed marginalized status had nothing to do with this movie being a huge embarrassing failure. The main reason woke Snow White was a failure is because Rachel Zegler told over half the country not to pay to see this movie. I don't know about you guys, but when someone tells me they don't want my money, I keep my money. Hell, when someone is begging me for my money, I keep my money. Disney already has enough problems with parents not trusting them with their children. Disney already has an earned reputation of indoctrinating children instead of entertaining children. Disney does a great job of being a miserable failure all on their own. They don't need one of their lead actresses telling half the country not to support one of their movies, because the vast majority of American parents aren't supporting Disney to begin with. One box office failure, one monumental mistake from Rachel Zegler, that's not enough to ruin her career if she approaches the mistake in the right way. America is a very forgiving country. Matter of fact, I think America is often too forgiving. Hell, just look at what's happening right now in New York City, the city that promised to never forget. Not only did they forgive, they completely forgot. They've got an Islamist mayor who's trying to turn Times Square into the Taj Mahal. The streets of New York City are now being used as safe spaces to pray to Allah. Then doofus Democrats like Kat Hochul wonder why millions of people are escaping that dump. Rachel Zegler is young. She's only 24 years old. People in their early to mid-20s, they're not exactly known for their good judgment. Once woke Snow White bombed at the box office, if Rachel Zegler had come out and said, "I really messed up. I was infected with the woke fungus. I stopped seeing pretend Dr. Jill Biden at Woke Memorial Hospital. I went and got a second opinion from a real doctor. They have developed a treatment plan to alleviate my symptoms. It appears to be working because I want to tell America that I am sincerely sorry, and I want to apologize to Disney for the flames of my toxic mouth farts burning over $100 million. That's all she had to do. Now, would everyone have forgiven Rachel Zegler? Probably not, but most people would eventually be willing to give her a second chance. Americans love a redemption story, but in order to gain redemption, you first have to acknowledge your mistakes. Unfortunately for Rachel Zegler, she continues to do the complete opposite. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Let's go and get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Sugar Mountain Trading. My uncle called me around Thanksgiving. He's a military veteran, served in the Gulf War in the early 90s. As he's gotten older, been dealing with various health-related issues. Doctors had him on pain management, had him taking all this medicine just to get him to sleep at night, most of which wasn't working. Once the meds wore off, he was tossing and turning all night. Plus, he was building up a tolerance. My aunt bought him some CBD lotion from Sugar Mountain Trading. Wanted him to try it out just to see if it would work for him, see if it would help. My uncle applies the CBD lotion every night before he goes to bed. He is getting the best sleep that he has gotten in years. Doesn't even take the pain medication anymore because he doesn't need it. Over the holidays, one of my longtime viewers reached out to me telling me how the CBD lotion from Sugar Mountain Trading alleviated his back pain. He had been dealing with back pain for years, couldn't find anything that would work. Bought a bottle of CBD lotion from Sugar Mountain Trading. 20 or so minutes later, back pain gone. I have got countless stories from viewers, friends, family. They all tell me the same thing. They cannot believe this stuff actually works. Hell, there's a reason Sugar Mountain Trading has been with me for 18 months now. My audience keeps buying their CBD because Sugar Mountain Trading is the real deal. All CBD products offered at Sugar Mountain Trading, 100% natural, 100% free of THC. So click the link in the description or the pinned comment below. Use my promo code BTL25, BTL25. Receive 25% off your first purchase with Sugar Mountain Trading. In the immediate aftermath of Snow White being a huge embarrassing failure, Rachel Zegler blamed fans and claimed that supporters of Donald Trump were the reason that no one paid to see this garbage. Ooh, these peasants are so toxic. I don't want money from anyone who supports Orange Bad. Now, in fairness to Rachel Zegler, she's not the only reason that woke Snow White was a disgrace. Disney is partially responsible because Rachel Zegler, she should have never been given this role to begin with. Why in the hell would you cast an activist in a movie that's meant for children? Last year, while the film was being promoted, executives at Disney flew up to New York City to visit with Rachel Zegler. Now, at the time, her mouth farts and Twitter toots were absolutely uncontrollable. She was talking and tweeting. More importantly, she was pissing everyone off. Disney executives, they begged Rachel Zegler to shut that hole in her face. All we need you to do is promote the movie. Unfortunately, Rachel Zegler refused to listen. And here we are a year later, and she's still not listening. Earlier this week, woke Snow White was interviewed by something called Harper Bazaar. This was an appropriate platform for an interview with Rachel Zegler because bizarre is definitely a word that most people would use to describe her. During the interview, Rachel Zegler took a break from toxic tooting and she decided to incorporate a sympathetic soliloquy. According to Rachel Zegler, she is the ultimate victim. Not only did she grow up in a country full of evil American colonizers, as a child, she also grew up watching movies and TV shows that failed to provide adequate representation of Latinas. This lack of representation was heartbreaking for a young Rachel Zegler, but somehow she fought past the barriers. She fought through the trauma to become one of the first young Latino women to make it in Hollywood. Watch it for yourself.
When I was younger, my approach to beauty was a lot more shaped by what I was witnessing in big pieces of media. Who was on magazine covers, who was in the beauty commercials, who was in movies and was considered like the most beautiful movie star at the time. It was definitely very Eurocentric. And being a young Latina, that was hard because not a lot of people looked the way that I did, or they didn't have bushy eyebrows like I did. They didn't have dark eyes like I did. I have a frontal lobe now. And that's been really helpful.
What? Excuse me? Let me make sure I'm understanding you correctly. According to the insinuation from Rachel Zegler, she grew up in a culture that lacked representation of Latin women. Based on her comments, based on Rachel Zegler claiming that she grew up in a Eurocentric culture, I was thinking that maybe she grew up in England or Ireland. I definitely wasn't thinking Spain since, there are a lot of Spanish people in Spain. But imagine my surprise. Just imagine my surprise when I discovered that Rachel Zegler was born in Hackensack, New Jersey. She was raised in Clifton, New Jersey, a city where 30 to 40% of the population is Hispanic. Rachel Zegler has spent her entire life in America. She was born in 2001 at the height of Jennifer Lopez's career. Last I checked, J-Lo was a proud Latina. What about Eva Longoria? Selma Hayek. I wonder if Rachel Zegler has ever heard of Shakira. The hips don't lie, but Rachel Zegler sure does. Do I need to keep going? Penelope Cruz, Jessica Alba, Sofia Vergara, Michelle Rodriguez, one of the co-stars of the Fast and Furious franchise, which is one of the most successful franchises in the history of Hollywood. But Rachel Zegler expects me to believe that she didn't have role models. She expects me to believe that she lacked representation. Rachel Zegler expects me to believe she's the ultimate victim. Rachel Zegler is not a failure because she's Latin. Rachel Zegler is not a victim because she's a woman. The reason Rachel Zegler is a failure is because she is unlikable. During the filming of Woke Snow White, Rachel Zegler was having a difficult time controlling her outrage. She was making incendiary remarks about Israel. She was expressing her support for Palestinians. Her co-star, Gal Gadot, arguably the most famous Israeli actress in the world, Gal Gadot was receiving death threats. Disney had to pay and provide for extra security just to protect her. And for some reason, Rachel Zegler refused to shut the hell up. Like most doofus celebrities in Hollywood, Rachel Zegler wants to blame Trump supporters for her failure. She wants to blame fans. She wants to blame misogyny, mythical racism. She wants to blame everyone but herself for her huge, embarrassing failure. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.